Familiar Wilsons Media. Relationships are the story.
You are made of meat, my friend, all the way down.
The following podcast uses words like and also. If you're not into any of that shit, then now's your chance.
3, 2, 1.
Run.
Super familiar with the Wilsons. Get it!
Welcome to Super Familiar with the Wilsons. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Josh. Amanda, why do you have that look on your face?
Because that was so loud.
The church bells?
Just all of it. Chris Barron, love him, yelling at me about Super Familiar with the Wilsons. All of it's so loud.
So today, first thing I want to do is I want to ask you a question. How many coffee mugs do you think that we own?
35. Did you count them?
I did. I went today and I counted them.
Okay, I'm glad that you've used your time wisely. How many do we have?
51 that I could find.
That's after we've pared them down. We gave away boxes of them.
And how many did we give away in that box?
Double.
You think that we had 100 mugs?
Yeah. Do you know how many we actually used? Probably.
I used 2.
I used 2.
We could actually open a coffee shop for this neighborhood and be set.
I think there's sentimental value attached to some of them. Some of them I like the way that they feel in my hand.
You only have 2 hands.
Okay. I like the way different ones feel in my hands.
Okay. Well argued.
I love a diner mug, right? You know what I mean? The diner mug, they're heavy and they've got that little curve in the middle. You know what I mean? If you went and sat at Waffle House counter, you'd get this kind of mug. I have a Jimmy Buffett one. I have a Life is Good one. I have one from a fruit stand that you Cherry something in Charleston or outside of Charleston that you and I stopped at on one of our first vacations. And those I love. And then I have because I was a teacher, I have mugs with our kids' pictures on them that people have made me. I can't give away the mugs with our kids' pictures on them.
So I did go through and I tried to identify the different categories of mug and time period. So you have the before Wilson.
Yes.
You have the gift accumulation. You know, everyone loves, especially you as a teacher, you get all these freaking things. Oh, let's give her a coffee mug or whatever. We have the souvenir trap. You mentioned that. Oh, this is great. It's going to remind us of our trip. It won't. And it only costs $12, right?
Yeah.
There's the kid years. So everything in that is plastic.
Yes.
And a sippy cup. So I noticed a couple of those. And in that, we have a little crossing of the Venn diagram where we have a kid year and a souvenir trap, which is a little plastic Harry Potter sippy
that
mug.
Is not a coffee mug. That was what we got butterbeer in. Then you put it in the wrong place because it goes in the glasses cabinet.
Not interesting. Then we have the work infiltration.
I like how the not interesting is when you've done something wrong. When you yelling at me about accumulating mugs, that's interesting. But when I said to you, you put it in the wrong cabinet, that's suddenly not for public consumption, and I'm boring the audience with how you got this wrong. Go ahead. What did Tom say? I'm a little bit more sassy these days.
Yes, you
Chicken
are.
Tom.
Chicken Tom, a listener and a friend of the podcast, commented that Amanda seems to be a little bit more spicy.
Spicy.
Yes.
Bring it, Tom. I'll be spicy.
Tom, by the way, of the In-Law and the Outlaw podcast, another familiar Wilson's joint. So check that out if you want to hear him and his country son-in-law. Anyway, moving on. We've got the kids year. I said that the workplace mugs, so swag and the inevitable. Oh, we don't know what to do for our employees for Christmas. Let's get them a coffee mug because they want to be reminded of the work that they have to trudge to right after drinking that cup of coffee.
Yes.
So, and you do a lot of traveling for your company too, so you have a lot more access to possible swag.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then, of course, there's the sentimental keepers. My dad owned this. This has got a picture of my kid that's also on all of my social media, all of the things. So through all of these different archaeological phases that we found ourselves, now we have freaking 51 coffee mugs.
All right, well, let's go down and purge some more.
Do you want to? Are you willing to do that?
I will, yeah.
Here's the thing. I have next to me, I have a lovely mug that is hand-thrown by a local artist. So love that already. Because for me, I just want something that's unique and individual. I personally would be happy with 4 mugs.
Okay, let's do
right?
it. I
Because
can do it.
Let's be realistic too. The reality is that we live in a place where we don't do dishes every day.
Yeah.
Right? So stuff's going to sit in there. And sometimes I will occasionally take 8 or 10 mugs to work and forget them and then have to bring them back. So I'd be happy to pick out my 4 mugs. In fact, it'd be fun if we went downstairs and kind of did like a little draft where we got to pick our mugs.
Okay.
Right?
And then we will put the winning 8 mugs on social media.
Oh, man,
these are the ones. You guys cannot wait, can you?
such compelling
Such
content.
good content.
But this does kind of lead me into the idea of like different points where we wake up and we notice something that's just kind of been there and we're like, how did I become this person?
You all of a sudden noticed it?
Yeah, like apparently I'm a lot more comfortable these days buying pants that have elastic waistbands.
Oh, God, yes.
I
We're
don't
those people.
Yeah, but I don't remember when that happened. All of a sudden I woke up and I had like 4 pants that don't need a belt. And I'm like, oh, really?
When did we become the people that are in bed by 8 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
And then are getting up at 4 something in the
I
morning?
feel like I can trace that one to the pandemic where my sleep, which hasn't been great. I've talked about this endlessly on this podcast, but I think that I can narrow it down to the pandemic just screwed up all of my sleep patterns now.
Yeah.
And just the resulting stress.
Yeah. I also want to point out that we've become the people in which I purchase furniture
Oh, shit.
for the bedroom for all of the podcasting supplies, and you gave me nothing short of a 30-minute lecture. So it's like a storage cabinet, like a thing from IKEA, and it's got 4 boxes in it, right? And it's under the window, so it keeps the dog from... See, the dog has scratched the paint off our windowsill because he gets up there and yells at the neighborhood. So it's lovely. I love it. And Josh gave me a very long lecture about how it is not to become a surface in which we collect things. I mean, over and over again, this man told me it is not going to become that. Okay. Whose clothes have been on this since Sunday?
I put all of my fucking clothes on this cabinet, on the top of this cabinet. All of them. I took clothes out of the closet, out of the thing, and I put all of my clothes on top of it.
A full week, people. His clothes have been on this, and hangers on top of the clothes.
Well, how am I going to get rid of the clothes then if I don't have hangers? I got to have hangers.
Step for putting them in the closets right here. We've become those people too.
Yes.
Yes, we need to Marie Kondo the hell out of your clothes on this thing. Do these socks that with hot dogs on them bring you joy?
Okay, we're not doing this right now.
You don't think that the listeners want to hear all of this?
I don't. I think everything in life requires moderation. I am all for going through my closet and getting rid of all of the clothes that use belts now, because that's not a thing that I do. And then these mugs, and also freaking like all of the forks that we don't need, like mismatched forks and spoons. I don't know how that happened.
I like mismatched things.
Okay, very good. But we don't need all of them. We can have like 2 things and have them not match, and then we're done.
We do need all of them. We had a dinner party last night. We barely had enough forks for everybody.
Okay, but you know what we had way too many of?
What?
Plates. Bowls.
We ran out of plates on the counter. I had to go get more.
Yes,
out of the
but
closet,
we have
or the pantry, the cabinet, whatever.
Right, in the cabinet though, we can stock a restaurant. I need like maybe 4 plates and a bowl.
Right, but you understand that's one of you. 6 people eat in this house on a regular basis when the boys come over. And then we added, 8 people last night. So, you now are thinking about yourself living in a space by yourself. And if that is where you and your 4 forks want to go, that's fine. But the rest of us have to have eating utensils.
Well, this is not the direction I intended to go with all this. I will say that I think that we have way too many china plates.
Those are fine.
We've got a set of plates that are plastic, and they don't look bad. They don't look cheap. They're nice plates.
They're from Pier 1. They weren't cheap.
Right, and so those are the ones that we pull out and use, and we never use these other plates. And I don't think...
Untrue. The last time we had a small dinner party, I used those plates. They are from Crate and Barrel, and they're Italian earthenware, and I'm not getting rid of them. I've had them longer than I've had you. So, they came with me into this marriage, and they will go with me if you're going to fight me on these plates.
Okay, well, but see, there's kind of the point that I brought up the whole Marie.
They bring me joy, jackass. I'm keeping my
the Marie Kondo thing, because I had gone and we have books like all over this house. We have books. I love books, and so I'm looking at the book cabinet right across the room there, and I had emptied that cabinet of books and put them in boxes and getting rid. And I missed having those books. And so for me, even if I'll never read them, like having books on a shelf, I guess it's like decor, right? It's a comfort thing.
Academia aesthetic.
Yeah, so we can be like very selective, but there are definitely things that we could get rid of. And that's all I'm saying. If I were to tie this segment up into a neat little bow like we planned this, which we didn't.
No one told me I was going to have to defend my plates when I woke up this morning.
But it's like identify the things that bring you joy and keep those things. But then the other stuff, get rid of that mess.
You're also supposed to thank it for what it's brought into your life and let it know it's time for it to be let go.
Thank you, Fork, for the joy that you've brought into my life.
Email.
Our email address is familiarwilsons@gmail.com. Amanda, I've been holding on to some of these questions so we can answer them all in a group here. So here are some questions from our listeners. Are you ready?
Yes.
Dear Josh and Amanda, I have a question for you. What do I do when a loved one marries someone horrible?
God, that's really tricky. That's really tricky. Listen, you got to support your loved one. And here's the really tricky part. Because when they start talking trash about this person to you, you cannot agree and be like, yeah, they're horrible. Because guess what? They're going to stay together and then you're going to be the person who said they were horrible. So you just got to listen and just like, I'm here to support. But if they're complaining about him, if they're not complaining, I don't know what to do.
Maybe we should call this segment Ask Amanda, because I can already tell that I'm not going to give any useful advice. Okay, here's one. Dear Josh and Amanda, what's the difference between a hobby and an obsession? I'm here to tell you right now that for men, there is no difference.
Really?
Yeah, so for men, they get a hobby. That means there's something that they obsess over, like until they're not interested in it anymore.
Are you speaking in generalities for your gender?
Okay, what are we doing right now?
I'm asking. No, I'm asking.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
What's your sample size?
Bring it. Huh?
What's your sample size?
No, we're not doing this.
All right.
Sample size of 1. No, of 2, because Chicken Tom, the aforementioned Chicken Tom, like it seems to me that he's a very curious guy and he gets super into something.
Yeah.
And he pursues it until he does it. And I know that I do that with like art and music and all this and that. So I would say there is no difference. And actually, these days, if you're going to pursue something outside of work that is not your family or relationships, it had better be an obsession, because ain't no one got time for just like little hobbies.
I think that what you're speaking about is not so much obsession, but hyperfixation.
Isn't that obsession?
Yeah, but it's hyperfixation though is more manifestation of neurodivergence, which anxiety is absolutely one of those things. We tend to, in this house, because we are all high anxiety people, we tend to hyperfixate. I notice it more in the kids. They'll get super into something, but it is a means of kind of focusing on something that you can have control over. I was a little bit curious, so I looked up. So hyperfixation depends on context. So they're similar, like an intense focus on something, but they have distinct differences between hyperfixation and obsession. So hyperfixation is commonly associated with neurodivergent conditions such as ADHD, anxiety, autism. It's typically tied to special interests or tasks. It's usually temporary and can shift when the person's interest wanes or external factors change. The person might feel deeply engrossed, often losing track of time, but the focus is not necessarily distressing. It comes with excitement or deep engagement, even if it can lead to exhaustion. It can be productive, like deep diving in a hobby, but may cause neglect or other responsibilities or needs, right? So that's hyperfixating on something. The 8-year-old gets hyperfixated on one game and then just exhausts himself on learning all the characters, learning all the lore, or gets that way about space, like hyperfixates on something. But a session is linked often to like OCD, where it's typically paired with intrusive thoughts. So what I'm seeing this, it can be long lasting and persistent. It feels intrusive and involuntary. Like you've got a strong compulsion over it. It's accompanied by distress, discomfort, or fear. And so I'm asking, like, if I'm really into a hobby, this is telling me, the research that I've done is that can be passion, or it can be hyperfixation. Passion if it's long-term, hyperfixation if it's short-lived, but obsession is something that causes you to, it impacts the rest of your of your life, and it brings negative things, not necessarily positive things.
Okay.
So that's the difference between a hobby and an obsession.
Wow.
Look, don't come at me with like research-based questions and think that I'm not going to go into it, because this is what I do for an actual living.
Okay.
Are you regretting asking this question, listener?
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah. Okay. Here's the next question. Let's see how research-based you can get. Dear Josh and Amanda, who would you say is the new Tiger King?
Oh God. Remember when they tried to do the thing with like the circus guy or the like magician or something? They tried to do another Tiger King series, but it was based on like the King of the Carnival or something. I didn't watch it though.
No. So let's think about, though, like Tiger King, right? So big personality, big ego, reality show vibes happening, legal trouble.
I see where we're going. Saying really inane, stupid things.
Saying dumb things, kind of like being a cult leader with merchandise.
Absolute egomaniac, thinking
messy
that you
and
were always
magnetic.
right.
Yeah. So who do you think, dear listeners, we will elect as, season 2 of the Tiger King, the American Nightmare?
Yes.
Whereas Joe Exotic is in a cage, we have the new guy trying to stay out of a cage.
That's
so,
right.
So there you go. There's my answer to that question.
Therefore, let me run the country.
Last
so I
question
can't go to
here.
jail.
What is the point, Josh and Amanda, in saying you're welcome? It seems kind of unnecessary.
I don't know. I mean, I could look into the etymology of
Please
it if
don't.
you want
My
me
God.
to. But I mean, it's a polite thing to say. I don't know. I have a work colleague that absolutely refuses to say bless you when someone sneezes.
Right.
He's just like, you didn't do anything. You sneeze. Like, there's no reason for me to bless you. It's not like
Right.
you accomplished something. You're not dying. Like, there's no reason for you to be blessed. Right?
well,
Like, just refuses to say it.
You
Like,
might be dying after the pandemic.
I know, on principle. But your welcome is just, and it's just a thing of politeness. I don't know. Just do it to be kind.
Well, here's the thing, though. That did get me thinking, like, even the term "you're welcome," like, it is accepted now as the way to communicate after someone says thank you, which, by the way, I think that when someone says thank you, that's the end of the transaction, right? But "you are welcome" literally means that we are happy to see you here in this place.
Or
right?
you're welcome, like we are inviting you into the
Or
space.
we invite this, but think about that in context of, oh, thank you very much for buying that thing for me. Oh, I'm happy you're here.
No, I'm happy that you are in a space where I gave you something that makes you happy.
That's too much mental gymnastics.
That's why we say you're welcome.
Well, my brain doesn't like that. What are some alternatives to you're welcome? Because they are out there, like my pleasure, right?
Oh,
Some people
God, but that's only for people who work at Chick-fil-A. And I can always tell when someone in the service industry has worked at Chick-fil-A previously when I say thank you and they say my pleasure. I'm like, oh, you worked at Chick-fil-A.
Well, you realize that Chick-fil-A didn't invent that, and like
No,
plenty
it's
of people out in the world.
Mandated, though. They have to say it.
Here's my problem with my pleasure. It's just creepy. Again, if it's like, oh, thanks for holding that door for me. Oh, it gave me such pleasure to do that for you.
But it's because you think in a sexual way.
No, I don't think in a sexual way. It just sounds like creepy. My pleasure. Like, don't bring pleasure into this. This is not appropriate. Leave that alone. How about like no problem?
I say no problem, or I say no worries.
To me, no problem, and I've said it before, but I always kind of bump on it after the fact. It's a lie because you did have to expend effort like that. Or it's true, and what you're saying to them is like, okay, well, you might be thankful for that, but it meant nothing to me.
No, God, you're being so literal. That's not what it means. It means, like, not that it meant nothing to me, because that would be, I didn't even think about it. No problem means, like, it didn't cause me any, like, expenditure to do this for you, but does it mean that you weren't happy to do it for them?
Don't you ever look at a phrase that we take for granted and you stop and you think about it and you think, well, how did that ever become to mean what it means now?
Yes.
Like, for example, pardon me, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that seems like a little bit pushy and presumptive. Like, I'm going to make you pardon me. And can your answer be, well, no, I don't think that I will. Or like when you like give someone something and you say, enjoy. Well, why are you imposing that on me now? Now I feel the stress and the pressure of like, now I have to enjoy this thing. Can I not just like patiently endure it? Can I not just tolerate it? Do I have to enjoy it? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
Maybe they're just suggesting that you could enjoy it. Maybe they're not telling you have to enjoy it. Also, what you're doing right now, hyperfixation. You are hyperfixating on the meanings of these things.
What if someone says to you, help yourself?
Yeah, so then you help yourself.
Right, because what are they saying, though? Like, because I'm sure as shit not helping you.
I don't
Unless, of course, it's no problem. Then it won't be anything for me to help you.
I don't want to make assumptions about what it is that you want and or need, so help yourself to it. You are coming from such a deficit-based mindset, and I am coming from, like, a positive mindset, a strength-based mindset. Like, that's basically the language version of saying the glass is either half full or half empty.
I'm just in favor of clear communication. Especially think about being someone who's learning English for the first time and they come across all of these phrases where, again, on the face of them, they make no sense. The thing about communication is that you look for context and understanding so that you can be a little lazy about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, colloquialism is something that we have to be intentional to teach English learners. That is a thing.
Yes.
But as somebody who grew up around Spanish-speaking communities, that there are a lot of phrases in Spanish that I don't get the straight English translation to. So that it's not just an English thing. It's a language-based thing.
It's not. But I can only speak towards the English things.
Yeah. But did I tell you how I was in Mexico once and I thought that I was saying "excuse me," which would be "pardon me," right? Perdóname. Anyway, I was walking through the city in Mexico yelling "escúchame" because I had "listen to me" confused with "pardon me," and I was yelling at all of the people on the streets in this Mexican city to listen to me. So, like, when I bump into people, I'd say, like, "excuse me, excuse me, excuse me" is what I thought I was saying. Instead, I'm going, "Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me." Anyway.
Oh, good story. I like that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
If you have a question or a statement or an anecdote or any of the things that you want to send to us, familiarwilsons@gmail.com. And now it's time for Fessholes. Fessholes is an account that I follow on social media, and it's basically anonymous confessions. And I get a kick out of reading them, but also the comments, too. So you ready for this?
Yes.
Here's one. In the mid-90s, when my marriage collapsed, I ended up living with my dad and stepmother. Whilst in the bath, I'd grabbed the flannel that was there and used it to wash my face. It dawned on me after she told me not to use it that it was her fanny flannel.
Oh, no.
Still haunts me at age 65.
Oh, God. Oh, God, I have a very similar story.
By way of definition, flannel is like a washcloth, and fanny in the UK is the front version of the female anatomy. Yes. So go ahead. What is your story that you used someone's fanny flannel?
So in the 90s, again, I did not use anybody's fanny flannel. I was dating this guy and his parents. They were still doing all of the construction in South Florida for Hurricane Andrew, right?
Yep.
So his dad was an engineer. So his parents had moved down to like the Homestead area, and he was living with his older brother. And so there were a lot of things boxed up. And his mom had brought him a box for somebody from work and said, "So-and-so's computer needs fixing. Can you fix it?" So he started to pull the computer out of the box. Instead, pulled out a black lace thong that had a whistle hanging where the fanny part would be. And he put it in his mouth and blew it. And I watched her eyes get giant because turns out it was his mom's. She pulled me aside later and told me that it was hers. Why she needed to tell me, I didn't know. So I had to break it to him that the whistle that dangled between his mother's legs had been in his mouth.
Why would there be a whistle there?
I don't know.
You're not having to call someone home to dinner when they're right there.
Or like for a timeout. I don't know.
This commenter said about that, my mother-in-law used a sheet of toilet paper as a fanny mop after peeing. Fanny mop.
I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do to wipe yourself?
That's not the end of it.
Okay, go ahead.
Being Scottish, she dried them on the side of the bath for reuse later.
No, that can't smell good.
Reminiscing after she died, my sister-in-law realized she'd been using them to blow her nose.
Why are we having to reuse the toilet paper?
I'm not getting into that here. I don't want to be canceled by a bunch of angry Scots people.
I'm just asking a question.
Someone else comments, a friend of mine used my mother's fanny flannel to clean her teeth.
Her teeth?
Yes.
Why are we flanneling our teeth?
Well, just like
polishing them?
Yeah. On a similar note, this warning sign in one of my most popular bathroom art prints says this: "There's no guarantee that that's not my ass towel."
Okay. Well, Thank you for letting us all know.
Doctor says, this is a new confession here. Doctor says I need to do more exercise, but I'm terrified of having a heart attack in the middle of nowhere and not being found until I'm dead. So I walk the corridors of my local large hospital knowing that I'd be treated in seconds if I collapse.
That's smart.
People think that I work there.
That's smart, though. I appreciate that. Or like just go to the grocery store and walk up and down. So there's got to be an AED defibrillator thing there.
Yeah, no, the hospital is a pretty great idea.
It's really smart.
But like, it says people think that I work there, so I guess this person does it every day. Go get yourself a stethoscope and go get yourself a clipboard and just have fun with it. Someone in the comments says, I gave my 2-year-old daughter a bite of Snickers whilst waiting in A&E to confirm whether or not she had a peanut allergy.
Oh, God, that is dangerous.
Yeah. Well, you're right there, though.
But as parents of a child with severe nut allergies, that's dangerous.
And then the last comment, that's really no way to live.
I support it. You're getting the exercise and you're keeping yourself safe.
Last one here that I picked out was this. Our chopping board has seen better days, so I bought a like-for-like replacement. Same style, color, etc. My wife is cross because I didn't discuss it with her first. Am I missing something here?
Is there some sort of sentimental value to this cutting board for her? Like her grandfather made it before he passed away?
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, other than a sentimental thing or you don't have the money to spend, I don't know why she's cross.
Some of the comments here, she had planned on an upgrade to a better, stronger, faster chopping board, and you ruined that. Mm-hmm. Am I missing something here? They answered yes, because you're still discussing it with the internet instead of your wife. Someone else said, she was like, hang on, it's been 15 years. Maybe chopping board technology has advanced since then. Someone else says, you've made a decision way above your pay grade. Now you have to let her have a free choice in your next car.
There you go.
Maybe she thought the old one was seasoned like a cast iron frying pan. Gross.
Yeah, no,
we
don't want to season wood. Like, that's not so good.
And then the last person says, she's cheating on you with the old cutting board. It's the only explanation.
Maybe it was her fanny flannel cutting board.
Oh! Yesterday, Winthrop was telling me about these friends that he has at camp. And I've already resigned myself to the fact that names that people are coming up with for kids today are different than what I expect, right?
Yes.
So he was describing his friends, Finn, Briar, and Lennon. And again, I'm not judging those names, but I do have a question. How do we think that Lennon's parents spelled Lennon's name? Do we think it's
like John?
Lennon?
Yeah.
We don't think it's Lenin?
No.
Because it could be.
It could, but that's dumb.
It would tell us a lot about the parents and whether we want our kid to go on a play date over there or not.
Did Winthrop know?
No. And I'm not going to ask him because then whatever. But I think it's important that if Lennon's parents ever say, would you like to have a play date? We need to find out how it's spelled. Because either they're going over on the play date and they are, doing tie-dye and doing an interpretive dance to the song Imagine, or they're going over on a play date and they are dividing all the food equally amongst all the children and then plotting a revolution.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what to expect.
What to expect. Right. Well, I mean, parents text these days, so I'll be able to tell immediately and we can say yes or no.
Well, I'm not even saying that we say no to anything.
We just know what our child's going to be exposed to.
Yeah, just so we can be prepared.
Well, how do you think that the people take the fact that we've named our child Winthrop when we text and say Winthrop's coming for a play date? Are they expecting like some aristocrat, like snooty person?
What's happening here?
I know that's not really his name.
This something really strange has happened. Either I jumped into like an alternate timeline or you've forgotten what our child's real name is.
Yes. I don't know. I'm confused because the dog has just jumped straight up in my lap and is just standing on me. He has now declared that it is time to end the podcast.
All right. Well, let's very quickly move into...
No one likes to be told what to do.
Now is the time in the podcast where we tell you what to do. Amanda, what should we do?
If you are looking for some heartwarming content creation, you can head over to Instagram or what's that other one? TikTok. And follow Isabel Klee, who's the content creator, but her account is Simon Sits. And she is a pretty well-known dog foster in the Brooklyn, New York City area. And she has just become incredibly viral with this really just broken dog, Tiki, that she fostered. And after 44 days, he found a really good home. Now those foster parents are continuing his journey. So it's just really heartwarming. But she has a new dog. His name is Cheesecake. And he was left tied to a fence to starve to death. It's really tragic, but she has him, and now we're following Cheesecake's journey. So as all the comments say, season 2 is here, y'all. So head on over and watch. She is amazing, and she has a magical touch with these animals. And a lot of people got so attached to Tiki that they were really upset with her for not adopting him and fostering him out. Fostering and then adopting him out. And he had over 500 applications. They were very specific about who he went to. But her point was, I can continue to save lots of dogs if we just continue to foster. And now people are coming back to the comments and saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And so it's nice to see people, admitting in a comment, which they don't typically do, that they were misinformed. And so head on over and check out Simon Sits.
I guess my recommendation was don't be that person who comments without knowing the full story.
Yeah.
I was reading a thing on the local subreddit, our town subreddit, and someone had written a really thoughtful post, and it went on for a while, but I thought it was good, and it was heartfelt, and it was interesting for those who would find it interesting. Why do people feel the need to express that they don't like something, or that they thought... The dumbest comment that I read was, oh, this is too long, I'm not going to read it. Well, don't freaking read it. Why do I have to know? Talk about having main character energy.
Right.
Why do you feel the need to pop into this very thoughtful thread? And if somehow you're not able to sustain the attention span to read the whole damn thing, you need to comment on it?
No. I know.
Just walk away. That's like going into the library and writing on the inner page of every book, I don't like this book.
Too long, didn't read. No one invited you to read it. That is your own free will. The other thing that I can't stand is don't be the person who comments on something if you don't read the article that's attached, or, because people will drop in and make comments based on the headline. And then there's other comments clearly you didn't actually engage with this content.
Not at all.
So please don't. Just when in doubt, don't. Just don't.
I think that that's not even genetically possible anymore, but it's certainly our advice. All right, Amanda, that's all there is, and there is no more. And I just got a text as we're recording from a number that I do not recognize that says, why didn't you tell me I left Miami?
What? Who left Miami and didn't know it, and then also texts you with an unknown number?
I am not texting them back.
Is it a Miami area code?
It is not. It is not.
Because they are no longer in Miami.
No, they're not. They are no longer in Miami. So anyway, what do you think of that whole mess?
I think you should comment back. Too long, didn't read.
Very good. Very good. All right. So we are now at the time where we need to thank the people we need to thank. So this episode of Super Familiar with the Wilson is brought to you by the Cupboard of Eternal Clatter. Antonio for the chip in the good china, Josh Scar for stirring the pot again, Daniel J. Buckets for the mismatched lids initiative, Chicken Tom for the unauthorized use of the immersion blender, Monique from Germany for the ceramic mug diplomacy treaty, Joey, Leo for the whispered rumors about the teacups, Refined Gay Jeff for the saucer swirl of sophistication, Mark and Rachel for the selective memory of who broke the French press, and Daniel and Gavin for the lies we tell ourselves about the non-stick pans.
Your brain is an interesting place to be.
Yes. Well, there you go. What can I say about that? My brain is a mismatched cupboard of coffee mugs. So until next week, folks, just go through life. Don't try to be the main character. It's not necessary. And just try to be nice to everyone around you so that they're like, oh, being around that person didn't suck.
And be kind.
Bye.
Bye.